And welcome to Field of Dreams. I'm your host, Anthony Totera. Joining us right now here at the CPL head offices is Marco Reda of Woodbridge Strikers. Marco, welcome here to the CPL head offices.
Thanks for having me, Anthony.
Appreciate having you here. Marco, let's look back. 10 years ago, the start of a great journey, League1 Ontario. Your club was a founding member of that league with a bunch of other clubs. They decided to take that challenge and that journey on. And we look today with the Gold Cup taking place in Canada, having many of those players that came through League1 Ontario. How important has it been for your club, for the players, and for this country that League1 Ontario took off and began that journey?
Yeah, I mean, well, like you said, it's been a good stepping stone for players. I think prior to League One, there's always been a gap, at least for soccer in Ontario, between that U17, U21, 22, 23 age group. And that sort of fit it's established itself as a place where players can go and continue to develop. And as you can see, it's a number of stars currently playing for Canada have gone through that pathway. And it's been good for us as a club because it gives players a chance to go watch our own League One games and aspire to play there. And the proof is in the pudding that players that play from there or with our League One team and others can move on to the next level, professional level.
How important is it that your players are now experiencing the top-notch competition in League1 Ontario, where week in, week out, the competition is fierce. Everyone wants to be their best, to play the best. And it prepares them, Marco, I would say, and you can comment on this, for them to get ready for the next layer, wherever that might be, CPL, leagues all over the world. But they're being prepared from guys like you and your coaches at your club by playing in that top-notch competition.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that the league itself has done a good job of narrowing down the amount of teams at the top level. And like you said, it leads to meaningful matches on a weekly basis, challenging matches on a weekly basis. I don't think there's any duds where players can take either a match off, even a playoff during a match. They've got to be on, and that helps with their development overall because that's the sort of standard that's required at the next level, whatever that may be.
Marco, a lot of times we talk about the player, the development, and how really they've taken off to another level. And we've seen it at the national team. We've seen many players all over this province and this country signing pro contracts. I think we're at a real special time in this country. But I don't think we give enough time and credit to the coaches. They're developing these players. They're sacrificing. They're the ones that are doing the dirty work, as we say. What has been great for you to watch and see some of the young coaches in your club? I know one who I selected as one of our showcases, Fab Panetta, as an example, a young coach on the rise. How great is that you're starting to see these guys really take off?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. When I took over, I'm like 6-7 years in now as the head of male programming at Woodbridge Soccer Club. So for us, two things were important. One, to move the players on to new levels, and to develop coaches to pass them on to new levels. So, you look at a Fab Panetta, started at the I model level, coached a number of years at the OPDL level, then League One Reserve, League Two, and now he's the assistant coach, and with probably a bigger role than assistant coach allows, maybe co-coach, associate coach, if you will. But yeah, that's important for our club and our coaches, that we can say, hey, if you come in with us and you learn and you develop and you get your levels over time, we want to make sure that you coach at the level you deserve when you get there.
Now listen, before you answer this question, the two previous guests before you gave me a drink as their favorite meal. Please do not do that, okay? Championship meal, you win a championship, what is your meal? Do not say a beer, a glass of wine. That's not a meal, please,
No.
Marco.
I won't say that. As you can see, I like to eat every once in a while.
So do I. So
yeah,
good.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I would have to say a nice pizza, Italian style pizza.
Okay.
Spicy soppressata.
Okay.
Some hot oil.
Okay.
Salad.
Salad?
Salad.
No salad. Okay.
No salad. Definitely no salad.
Okay.
I'll take a gelato after the pizza.
I was going to say, you're going to have a little gelato. Good.
Sure.
And what's your favorite beverage? Now we'll give you a beverage.
With the pizza, you can only have a nice Peroni.
There you go. And finally, not a beer, I don't know, I can't remember what the first guy said, but it wasn't food either. Thank goodness for that. We'll finish up with this, Marco. A lot of young coaches are starting their journey today. And they think that, hey, it's going to be great, put down a few pylons, do a little bit of this, do a little bit of that, and away we go. It's not like that. You
No.
know that you've begun at the bottom, you've worked your way up, you've played professional football.
Yeah.
We got to start calling it football in this country,
Sure.
by the way. What's the advice you want to give them?
To any young coach, I'd say don't be in a rush. I played professional football. I had a B license when I started coaching, and I started at the grassroots level. I think you can really learn how to coach, how to explain things, model things, design things for age appropriate activities, for instance. Learn how to talk to players appropriately. So I think a lot of coaches these days, they want to get their shiny new certificate and coach at the highest level possible, and then they're sort of learning backwards, where if they took their time and went through the proper processes, I think it's more beneficial to them in the long run.
Just before you go, I'm glad you touched on it, to talk to the players properly. Because when I travel all across this country and I do presentations, I talk to some of these coaches and I tell them, for me anyway, my experience is the number one thing is communication. Whether the player likes it or not, communicate, be honest and transparent. Expand a little bit more about that, because we see today, still I've seen it, some coaches will just still yell, scream, unfortunately some obscenities, and I don't think it goes a long way. What's the proper style or mix for you?
Yeah, look, every coach is going to have their own style, and I think it's okay for players to come across different styles. But at the end of the day, we got to remember that these are people, and a lot of the times they're children that we're dealing with feelings and egos and insecurities and lack of confidence and all of that. We need to build the people up first, and then the soccer player next. Look, it's very simple. You treat people like you want to be treated. I've had 2 kids in the game, so it's been easy for me to see their own development and to hold their coaches to a standard. And so it's easy for me to speak to kids when I've got my own kids, because I'm looking at it, hey, I'm just treating someone else's kid like I want my kid treated.
Well said. Marco Reda, thank you so much for taking time.
Pleasure.
I'm glad you joined us here at the head offices. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Anthony.
Great
Appreciate
stuff.
it.
Thank you, Marco.